Well, hello, everyone. Hello. I've been looking at you on this screen in front of me, and I want to thank you all for all the courage and endurance and commitment that you all have shown forever, but especially in this last year and a half. And it is great to be with all of you. I want to thank the administrator, Isabel Guzman, for your kind introduction, but also for your leadership. She and I have had many conversations since the beginning of the first days of our administration, and you really are so committed and such a great and important leader, especially at this moment in time. So thank you all. Thank you all for your leadership and for being here. You know, when I look at you and when I think about who you are, it's clear. You are not only leaders in business, you are civic leaders, you are community leaders, and you are our country's leaders. You know, I strongly believe that when someone starts a small business, it is a true act of self-determination. A small business owner must have a vision, and through hard work and support, realize that vision, which of course helps determine not only their future, but the future of their community. You know, just think about it. Small businesses provide almost everything that people need in their community, where they live, in their neighborhood. From the local dry cleaner to the local neighborhood restaurant to the small batch manufacturer. Small businesses create good paying jobs and in fact employ, I don't need to tell you all, nearly half of the private sector workforce of America. Small businesses keep our nation competitive. You know, the president and I spent a lot of time thinking about our relationship with our allies and even our adversaries around the world. And one of the great points of emphasis for us is that we must remain competitive. Well, you are a big part of the formula for how we will do that. All that to say, you do so much. So again, thank you. When the president and I first took office, one of our top priorities was to provide small businesses with relief. And I don't need to remind you guys of those days when we first took office and how folks were hurting and suffering, in particular, how our small businesses were going through so much pain through no fault of their own. But through our American Rescue Plan, we did what we intended to do in terms of relief to the tune of $60 billion. And as a result, so many small businesses have been able to reopen and stay afloat. In fact, we learned today, in the first half of this year, our economy has grown at the fastest rate in nearly 40 years. That's a good sign. And to build on this growth, our administration recognizes that small business owners need more than just relief. They need more than only relief. They need more than relief. And in particular, an area that I focused on, as the administrator has said, is on what small businesses need also in terms of access to capital. Access to capital. And an infrastructure that supports your growth. And so our administration intends to deliver on both fronts. First, on the issue of access to capital. So over the first 6 months, we have been in direct contact. And in fact, I've called and talked with some of the most active CDFIs or community lenders. CDFIs is the wonky term, but community lenders in our nation. And through these discussions and the work that I've been doing with Janet Yellen and our Treasury Department, we have begun to work on increasing community lending capacity, right? So they do so much, but we need to increase their capacity to do more. And as you well know, traditional banks, well, they've not always seen or understood the vision like a community bank can of, take, for example, women small business owners or small business owners of color or small business owners who serve local communities or low-income communities. Community lenders, on the other hand, well, they understand the value in providing access to capital directly to communities. They often exist in the community. They live in the community. They understand the community, and in that way understand the vision and the ideas of the small business owners within those communities. Community lenders have an incredible capacity, therefore, to add value to those communities and, by extension, to our whole country. And that is why we must support these lenders and why that has been one of the areas of focus for us. Second, we will invest in the infrastructure that supports your growth. So we've had a lot of work that, as you all know, has been happening in these last 6 months to do just that. And there was a big vote last night. I'm sure many of you were tracking it. And this is all in the context of the work the President and I have been doing for months now with members of Congress on infrastructure policy. So yesterday, the Senate voted to advance a bipartisan infrastructure deal. And 67 senators voted in favor of moving the deal forward, Republican senators and Democratic senators. And the bipartisan infrastructure deal will improve the lives of people in our country and the strength of our small businesses. And I think I will speak for the President and myself to say it's a point of pride that it was a bipartisan deal, because I don't need to tell you all, small businesses, the contribution they make to communities and the challenges they face really don't have much to do with who they voted for in the last election or will in the next election. It has to do with what they need to do on the ground every day to actually be successful and add value to their communities. And why? I mean, if you think about the infrastructure piece of it and why the bipartisan work was important, well, infrastructure, it is more difficult to get your goods to market when our roads are crumbling. Infrastructure, why is that important? Well, it's more difficult for your customers to travel to your store when our transit, in particular our public transit systems, are failing. It is more difficult for small businesses to reach new customers when their internet connection is slow, or in many cases, and I know we have a lot of rural business leaders here, when that internet connection is slow or non-existent. So our infrastructure as a nation needs an upgrade. And the bipartisan infrastructure deal, for that reason, is, we believe, historic, because it will make a once-in-a-generation investment in our nation's infrastructure, positioning our small businesses to compete in the 21st century. And I'll share with you a quick story about an incredible business leader among the many. I've been traveling around the country meeting with folks. And recently I met a business owner by the name of Megan Kaiser. And she runs an agricultural lab in Bowling Green, Missouri. And we had a long conversation. But her family's business is at the cutting edge of precision agriculture and green farming. And her clients, therefore, are from all over the world. But she pointed out she's got a really big problem on the infrastructure point, which is she cannot get the internet at speeds that she needs to load soil samples for her clients. So literally, she's talking to customers or potential customers from around the world, and then she needs to send them her spreadsheet. She needs to send them information about what she's doing. And because the infrastructure around the internet is so slow, she can't upload what she needs to send them immediately. So, you know, what she said to me is, I want to be competitive. I feel that my business is a reflection of America's commitment to business and small business. And she basically let on that it's kind of embarrassing because she wants to be thought of because she is a world-class business. But if she doesn't have the infrastructure to support what she is doing, which is running a world-class business, then what's that going to mean to the bottom line? So our nation's infrastructure must support businesses like hers and support the growth of all small businesses. And with that, let me just end where I began, which is the point of self-determination. I think it's such an important point. All of you have vision and you have drive. A strong sense of purpose often comes from within, as we all know. But it requires support. Support from your family and your friends, support from your community, and you deserve to have the support from your government. So I want you to know that the President and I are 100% committed to supporting America's small businesses and small business owners. And again, thank you all for your leadership, for your courage, for your strength, for your vision. And I look forward to working with you as we go forward. Thank you all very much.